Let me ask you something. When I was in school, we learned about three great architects in modern architecture. And one of them was Mies van der Rohe. And honestly, even if you didn't study architecture deeply, you've probably heard his name before. Especially because of this phrase, less is more. Most people know that one. But there's another phrase he said, which is not talked about as much, and that is, God is in the details. Does that sound familiar to you? And more importantly, do you know what it actually means? Because before we go into that, you've probably also heard of less is a bore. And in that kind of conversation, God is in the details almost disappears. But actually, this second phrase is the key. Without it, less is more can easily be misunderstood. Now, when Mies said God, he wasn't talking about religion. He was talking about something else. What he meant was this: the real architecture is revealed in the details. At first it sounds simple, almost too simple, like he's just saying details are important. Okay, that makes sense, but what does that really mean? To understand it, we need to look at how he started. He didn't begin as a theorist. He grew up around construction. His father was a stonemason. So from a very young age, he understood something very fundamental: how materials come together and how things are actually built. And even later, he worked in the office of Peter Behrens, and that's where things really shifted. He was exposed to industrial thinking, steel structures, large spans, new construction methods. But more importantly, he saw how Behrens approached design, not from how things look, but from what is actually needed. And that began to shape the way he approached design. Like Peter, Mies also started asking a more fundamental question, not about style, but about essence. What is architecture at its core? And his answer was very clear. Architecture should be reduced to its essentials: structure, space, and material, nothing more. Now imagine what happens when you remove everything else. No ornament, no decoration, no visual distraction, just the essentials. And when you get there, every decision starts to matter. How steel meets glass, how a column touches the ground, how edges, joints, and alignments are resolved. There's nowhere to hide. And this is exactly where God is in the details comes in. Because for me, detail is not decoration, detail is truth. It's in the way. Steel meets glass, a column touches the ground, materials align, proportions are controlled. If those aren't resolved, the entire architecture loses its integrity, because at that point, detail is no longer secondary. It defines the design itself. And that's what Mies understood, that clarity doesn't come from adding more. It comes from removing everything unnecessary until only what truly matters remains. And when only the essential remains, there's nothing left to hide behind. That's why detail matters, because in that detail you can see whether the architecture is honest or not. And that honesty is where design beyond form begins.